Broadcasting from the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studios, it's time for the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. This limited release show features the stories of the 2019 contestants of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's athletic competition, NBC's The Titan Games. Now here's your host, Katie Galley.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. I'm your host, Katie Galley. In the Keep Moving Forward Creator Studio with me today, I have Titan Games athlete and accountant with the Gilbane Building Company, Breona Evans. So how are you doing, Breona?
I'm doing well. How are you, Katie?
I am doing good. So I heard a little rumor that you were at Mercedes-Benz last night and you got to see the Atlanta United game. Was it pretty awesome?
It was so awesome. It was so nice to see Atlanta win something.
Right? Yes.
I feel like we've been cursed. So
Yes.
Hopefully this is the beginning of something new.
Yes, hopefully. And you got to witness it firsthand. That's awesome. Well, I just have one question that to kick off the interview with, and it's where did you grow up, and how, if at all, was your childhood shaped by athletics?
Sure. So I grew up in Lawrenceville, Georgia. It's a little suburb about 30 minutes north of Atlanta. My parents definitely always raised myself and my three sisters to love sports, love to try and be an athlete, and it's something I've enjoyed from a very young age.
Did you ever what sports did you play growing up? Did you start to focus in on one in particular, or did you just kind of play all manner of sports?
Oh, man, I wish I had. I started gymnastics probably at 4 years old and did that until I was about 10. And then it's actually started to get pretty serious, and I didn't want that, so I switched to cheerleading. Enjoyed the social aspect of cheerleading.
Yeah.
But still felt like an athlete, although some people might argue with me on that. But I think that shaped me to be the athlete that I am today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I disagree. Cheerleading is definitely a sport that requires such skill. It requires gymnastics, it is a sport. It is. I agree with you. But so when you got to that age where, because I think a lot of people get to that age if they do gymnastics, and with any sport really, but with gymnastics in particular, you have to decide, am I going to go all in? Am I going to train all these days during the week, dedicate all this time to practice, or are you going to take your turn at something else? So what kind of made you make that decision? What prompted you to decide that you didn't really want to go or continue down that gymnastics route and wanted to choose a new sport?
Yeah, I think the thought of dedicating 3 to 4 hours to training at that age was very intimidating, also very expensive.
Right.
And I think I just wanted to be your normal, middle schooler and high schooler, and wanted to be a student athlete and didn't really want to give up the school aspect just yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes sense. You want to have that social atmosphere, and you want to be able to have those friendships and be, like you're saying, be an actual student, be an actual athlete, and experience those things that you would going through school, rather than dedicating all of that time to being in the gym. And and of course, like it's that trade-off, but you still get that great experience from whatever path that you choose to go down.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So from there you went all in with cheerleading. Did you stay with that through high school and then into college, or did it end? Did your cheerleading career end with high school?
No, so I actually continued cheerleading up through college. I cheered at Georgia State University.
Okay.
They actually started their football program, I think, back in 2009, 2010. So I got to cheer the very first football game in the Georgia Dome, which was incredible.
That's so cool.
It was definitely a night I'll never forget. We filled the stadium, which is like amazing. We never did it again after that first game. But it's been so awesome to see that program grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that you got to be kind of at the forefront of that, to be with the cheerleading program and then watch the football team grow and be a part of that in tandem with it. And also have that experience as a student athlete at the collegiate level. And you said, cheering at the Georgia Dome, that's something you're never going to forget. And so having that being such a memorable experience, do you have another experience that maybe sticks out to you for whatever reason and kind of solidified for you that you were really on kind of pioneering this program and helping to create it into something that it could, the possibility of growing it into something greater.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was just awesome knowing that we started that program and laying the foundation for future athletes. Sad to say that the Georgia Dome's no longer there.
Right.
But I still feel like we left a legacy, and it's so cool that Georgia State actually has their own stadium now.
Yeah.
The former Turner Field. I'm just very proud to have been a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really cool that you get to point back and, I mean, see what the legacy that you left behind for your university and playing that part in it, and knowing where you came from and knowing where the university is now. It's really cool. So from there, what was it like when you graduated college and then transitioning into, I guess, the real world? So after you were done being a student and you were no longer an athlete, just that transitional period, did you continue cheering? Did you continue trying to be an athlete, or did you really just go all in and try and find a new career?
So actually, surprisingly, I'm not always proactive, but I was surprisingly proactive. And while I was cheering in college, I worked at a gym inside of the daycare. And this gym had CrossFit. And I would see, different moms and just athletes. They would work out in the hallways sometimes. And I thought they were all crazy, but it, sparked an interest in me. And I started to try these CrossFit classes. And I actually didn't really like it at first.
Yeah.
But about 6 months later, I was like, I really need something to do when I'm done cheering. The season was starting to wind down. So tried it again, fell in love with it. And so I actually started in CrossFit before I ended my cheerleading career. So it kind of just flowed naturally. I never really had to stop being an athlete, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I do CrossFit as well, and that was for me too when I graduated, trying to find the way to fill that athletic void. How was I going to continue on as an athlete? And CrossFit really helped remedy that. It filled that void, and I love that it's whatever you make it. You can be as competitive as you want. You can just go in and want to be a better you. But I love what it offers. So for you, when you said you first started it and you didn't like it, but then 6 months later when you went back, you actually fell in love with the sport. So why that shift? Was there something in particular that happened that made you come around and like CrossFit?
I think it was actually just the first workout that I did.
Yeah.
It was all like running and rowing, which still to this day, I probably wouldn't like that workout.
Right, exactly.
But I think after that one workout, I saw the CrossFit Games on TV, and I was like, wait, there's so much more that you can do. There's just such a large variety of different workouts. So I was like, you know what? Let me give that another shot. Maybe that was just, maybe I won't have to do that all the time.
Right, exactly.
Which sounds so hilarious thinking about now. But I'm so glad I gave it another chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is funny too, because you think about it, that first workout you do, it gives you a taste for CrossFit. And if it's just filled with movements that you don't like, well, you just decide you don't like CrossFit because it's
right.
so hard. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Oh man, that's so funny. So are you still at that same CrossFit gym?
I am. They're actually no longer inside of the gym that I worked at. They've grown, and they're in their own facility.
That's awesome.
Very close by, but still with them and absolutely loving it.
Yeah. So did you ever, did you remain, as an athlete, as a member of the CrossFit box that you're at, or did you have aspirations to want to get your level 1, go become a coach?
I actually do have my level 1.
Yeah.
And I did start to coach a little bit. I've backed off on that right now just because life has gotten really busy.
Right.
Definitely love coaching. I'm still certified, and I've been jumping in and helping with the kids classes recently, which has been really cool.
Yeah, that's great. And the coaching aspect of CrossFit is so much fun. It just gives you another angle to view and appreciate this sport, and it allows you to grow, I believe, as an athlete too, not just as a coach, but just in a different realm. So you graduated college and you filled that, the loss of your cheerleading career with finding CrossFit and really diving all in with that. But as far as, when you graduated, did you have an idea of where you wanted to go in your professional life, or did you was that similar to your athletic journey? Did it start off as seeking something you wanted to do, or did you just know you wanted to go into accounting?
No, so that was a whole nother journey. I think I changed my major 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
And so accounting came pretty naturally to me. So I talked to my parents about it, and they were, really encouraging that maybe I should give accounting a shot as my major. There are a lot of accounting jobs out there, and their concern was me finding a job after graduation, understandably so.
Right.
So I did finally decide on accounting, and upon graduating, I wasn't 100% certain that's actually what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I just took a job that was honestly close to where I lived, and that was with Gilbane. And I've worked my way up slowly but surely and really fallen in love with my profession.
That I love that. It's, you start somewhere and you don't know exactly where it's going to lead you, but if you keep working hard, you keep pushing down those doors, you're going to end up exactly where you were meant to go. So when you entered in on Gilbane, kind of just deciding because you wanted to work closer to home. So that entry level job, that first position you got, can you just walk us through that journey of where you entered and how you kept persevering, kept pushing forward until you reached the position that you're at today?
Sure. Yeah. So, and to be honest, I toyed back and forth with, hey, is this really what I want to be doing? Or do I want to pursue CrossFit full time? And that's a battle I struggled with probably the last 5 or 6 years.
Wow. Like as a CrossFit athlete, like a professional CrossFit athlete?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And we can get into that later. But
yeah.
I honestly had a really awesome boss. His name was Brian. And he loved that I was, really heavily into CrossFit, but still, try to do my best at work. I think I took a lot of that work ethic from the athletic side into the office. And so we build buildings around Atlanta and around the world. We've built schools and hospitals, hotels, everything, you name it. Even a huge sporting facility called Lake Point, which is up in Emerson, Georgia. And my sisters actually did a cheerleading competition there. So I feel like the work we do gives back to the community, and I find that really satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, that's great, knowing that you're in a position that you love and you're doing work that matters and work that you feel is valuable, and it is valuable. So then how difficult was it then for you to decide to go on with accounting? And then, this CrossFit journey too. So having the desire in your heart then to go all in as a CrossFit athlete and having those doors open too. So how did you balance that? And can you just walk us through that part of your journey as well?
Sure. So I started CrossFit a year before I was with Gilbane, and I guess I just slowly started to get better and better, and I started with the team side of competition, which was really awesome. I've made friendships that, will last my entire lifetime, still keep in touch with everyone, still train with everyone as much as I can. But then I realized I wanted to give the individual side of competition a chance, which was really scary for me because as a cheerleader, I was always on a team.
Right.
So that was really scary and awesome. But I realized that all of my competitors either were full-time professional athletes or they were coaches where they could access the gym,
right,
all hours of the day, and were able to train more than I was. And so, of course, my first thought was, oh man, is if I want to get better and actually qualify for the CrossFit Games, maybe that's the step I need to take. And I also struggled with thinking that maybe the balance of my profession actually made me a better athlete. I didn't take the hours I had to train for granted. And I also wanted to be able to say I was the first accountant to make it to the CrossFit Games. I haven't met that goal just yet, but it's still definitely a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. So you would really be the first accountant. I guess that makes sense. I mean, to be a professional athlete, it seems like you're saying dedicating that much time to it, but then it's not a far-fetched idea to be able to have that balance and have that full-time career outside of the athletic world, and also going all in on this dream of yours, this goal to go to the CrossFit Games as an individual athlete. And so how Have you tried every year since you started CrossFit to, or every year since you completed your team's competition, when you decided that you wanted to go individual or attempt to go individual, have you just tried every year to compete in the CrossFit Open and try and qualify for regionals, or have you, like this past year, or did it start this year? I guess, what was the journey towards trying to become an individual CrossFit competitor like?
Yeah, sure. So unfortunately, I think Brent Fikowski beat me, and I think he is actually the first accountant
Oh man.
to qualify for the CrossFit Games. So maybe I could say the first female.
Exactly. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but yeah, coming for you, Brent. But so in 2013 and 2014, I competed on a team at regionals, and then 2015, I finished. I want to say maybe 28th or 29th. So not the start I wanted in individual competition, but it was really eye-opening of how good everyone was and what it took to really make it. So I took that back with me in my training, got some awesome training partners, started following a really good program under Emily Bridgers. And then in 2016, I finished 7th. I was actually in 6th going into the last day. So never would have thought that would have happened, and top 5 make it to the CrossFit Games. So that was super encouraging, heartbreaking, but a really awesome learning experience. And then in 2017, I hired a new coach, started following an individualized program to, try to fill some of those weaknesses with Maxwell Hodge with Training Think Tank. And he is a phenomenal coach. And we got very close again. I finished, I want to say 9th. I was in like 3rd after day 1. So almost there yet again. And I was pretty frustrated, pretty heartbroken. So I took some time off and decided to go team last year. I had some injuries too. So gave team a shot and had an amazing experience. And our team actually finished 6th. So 1 spot out again from the CrossFit Games.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
Man, that's incredible though, to think about where you came from as an athlete and then not knowing anything about CrossFit and just kind of learning about it, seeing these moms in your gym competing, or just, taking these classes, learning about it, hating it when you first tried it, and then all of a sudden you are the 7th, 6th, 9th best person out there competing. That is incredible. You're definitely going. You're going as an individual.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's so cool that you just clawed and scraped your way there, and you've put in the work, and like you're saying, you've intentionally gone out to fill those weaknesses. You know where they are, and you're making them not weaknesses. You want to fill those gaps. So you're finding the coaches, you're finding the programs that are going to make that possible. And so I love that, the athlete mentality, and I'm sure too then it carries over into your profession as an accountant, and so it makes that, I'm not saying, I know that balance has got to be very challenging as an athlete and working in that professional side, especially as an accountant. But I imagine that athlete mentality helps you in both of those areas.
Oh, absolutely. You hit it, spot on. I would say that having the humility to go and attack your weaknesses and do what you suck at every day is really hard, right? But if you can do that in the gym, it definitely translates to your whole life. In the workplace, I'm not afraid to, work on my weaknesses, ask what my weaknesses are,
right,
and carry over that work ethic to the workplace.
That's awesome. I love that. And it's the, those skills that are transferable, the ones that you learn as an athlete, and realizing, those seamlessly translate into literally anything else I'm going to do. They just can it's true though, right? You can put them in any area of your life, and it helps you.
Absolutely.
So you went team last year, and you guys, you were right there. You were 1 spot off. So do you that's awesome. That's so cool though. And so do you now have this year going into the 2019 year, do you have a desire then? Are you trying to go as an individual? Are you trying to go as a team? Or are you thinking about taking the 2019 season off as well?
No, so I left the 2018 season really, really motivated. The team just reignited this love of training and competing within me. I was just so burnt out after 2017 because I really felt like I gave it everything I had, and it still wasn't good enough. And so, of course, you take a step back and think, okay, well, how can I make this goal happen? Sometimes you have to readjust your goal. And so my goal became team. And I love that they made it so fun. And I remember the first day of regionals looking around and thinking, I'm so glad I'm here. I'm so glad I didn't stop training, you know?
Yeah.
And so, of course, they've recently changed the format, which is a little scary.
Right.
But cool. You know, I think it'll be good for the sport in the long run. So right now I'm signed up for Wadapalooza individually. I'm in the RX division, so I won't have a chance to qualify for the games there, but hopefully going to qualify for some other sanctioned events to try and make a run for the CrossFit Games.
So Wadapalooza, you sign up for RX, so that means you can't qualify there for the games. You could qualify for another event that qualifies you for the games. So there's certain meets or certain competitions that you can only qualify for the games at.
Yeah. So the way it works for Wadapalooza is you have to qualify as an elite athlete, and I was unfortunately 7 spots out of the elite division.
Okay.
Strength is a big weakness of mine, and so there was a max clean and jerk that cut me out, unfortunately. But I am working on that. I have recently hired a weightlifting coach who's awesome.
Wow.
So we're hoping to, fine tune my list and get my strength numbers up. So for the next qualifier, I can hopefully qualify for that elite division.
Sweet. That's really cool. And so how does your training work then? I mean, you have these coaches and this training regimen that you're very disciplined on keeping, but then you also have this full-time job. So how does that balance work? When do you train and when do you do your accounting job?
Yeah, it's I don't get to really do much besides eat, sleep, train, and work. But everyone in my life is really understanding. So I do my best to get up and make it to the gym before work and then rush home, shower really quickly, and then go to work usually for about 9 or 10 hours and then rush back to the gym. And I know that you live in Atlanta, so you know how traffic is not very cooperative.
Right. Never.
So I usually get to the gym and I'm like, got all this frustration, which is pretty good to take out in the gym.
Yeah.
So spend the rest of my evening there, rush home, try to get some food, and try to get to sleep early enough to do it all over again the next day.
Man. And is that your schedule Monday through Friday, and then you have more intensive training on Saturday and Sundays?
So I usually take Sundays off.
Okay.
Although I did go do some weightlifting earlier today.
Of course you did.
Technique work.
Right.
But I'm huge about taking naps on the weekends and catching up with, normal life activities. But normally Saturday's like one long morning session, which is usually really fun.
Oh, good. Okay. That really is awesome too. And again, that discipline and that desire to you have these goals and you have these dreams on your heart. And so you're going to do whatever it takes. And so it's not like I imagine it's not like you feel as if you're sacrificing things. I know it's a challenge when you said that you have your friends and your family that are understanding about this lifestyle because you're just going hard after what it is that's placed on your heart, what you are meant to achieve. And so that's it. That's your reality. And so you go for it. And I love that. I love you get up early, stay at the work all day, and you go right back to the gym doing whatever it takes.
Yeah, having that support system. My fiance, Brandon, is very supportive. He's actually the co-owner of my gym, CrossFit Identity.
Okay.
And the majority of my friends actually go to the gym. So it's been really cool. We're all doing a new program. We're back with Emily Bridgers.
Okay.
So I'm just doing a harder version, but I typically take the class.
Gotcha.
So it's really awesome to have that community back behind me again. And having Brandon, he's very supportive. And then on the weekends, he's understanding when, I don't want to do anything and we can just kind of hang out on the couch at home.
Yes. That's very, very nice. That is great. And that it's amazing too, that you have that. CrossFit does provide that community and, knowing, I can't imagine how challenging it would be to train by yourself. So even though you're doing that harder programming, but you get to do it in that class setting with your friends, with people who are supporting you and challenging you, in different ways, and having your fiance so close by and, just, it's great that you have that intricate support system. And it's so so needed, having those people in your corner who are going to lift you up and support you no matter what, who understand that journey you're on, because they want it just as badly as you do. They want you to achieve those goals just as badly. So this is an incredible journey that you're on, and through athletics as well as your professional career. How did you end up as a contestant on the Titan Games?
Yeah, it's really crazy. Actually, one of the casting producers, I guess, heard about my story, juggling my CrossFit regimen with my full-time job as an accountant. And, he reached out to me and said, hey, there's this new show coming up. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about you, and maybe have you apply to be on the show. And, at first I was like, I've never heard of this show.
Yeah.
Is this real? So I talked to him a little bit further, and we did a Skype interview, and I found out that I was a finalist. So I had to go out to California and do like a combine, basically, against some of the other competitors.
Wow.
And then shortly after that, I found out that I actually had made it on the show, and I could not believe it. And I honestly had a moment where I was like, oh my God, what did I just get myself into?
Adding something else to your plate. Just keep it coming.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my goodness, what kind of stuff are they going to make us do? I'm so nervous. But I had made a lot of friends during the combine. Everyone was very like-minded and very sweet and awesome.
Man.
So the show was an amazing experience. Definitely the opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah, I bet it seemed. I love The Rock. Anything he does is pretty amazing. And so, to the fact that because he's had different shows in the past too. I think I remember one of them was like facing your fear show. And so I love the fact that he came out with this Titan Games and bringing people like you who are real Titans in real life, and you're competing. So when you go out to this the combine, was it just a day of competitions, or were you put in different was it teamwork, or was it just a competition to see who would win and who would make it to the next round?
I don't think it was as much that they were testing who won, but it was an individual set of just different challenges.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
They tested speed and agility, balance. They also interviewed us just to hear more about our stories.
Okay.
We had to do like this monkey bar challenge. That was awesome. It was like how many times can you go back and forth? That was really cool. And what was also cool, and something that I love about the CrossFit community, is everybody was cheering each other on.
Yeah.
Even though we all wanted to be on the show, we all also wanted to see each other succeed.
I love that. It is great when you have that. It kind of in that setting, that community building moment where even if you want to win, you want to be the one to make it to the show. You want to be the one to make it to the next round, just wanting somebody else to succeed too. And whatever that looks like for them, even if they don't make it, just making one more rung on those monkey bars, and just having that, that mental discipline, like you're saying, to keep going. And it's really cool too that it tested, it seems it tested physical strength and physical ability, but your determination, your mental willingness. So I know you had to have excelled at that clearly, because you made it on the show. And it's just that translates what you have in your real life translated into that combine, that just that competitive atmosphere. And I imagine that because hanging from the monkey bars, it's one, you obviously have to have the strength to go back and forth as many times as you can, but it's, can I go one more time without dropping, and just telling yourself. And I think you can probably speak to this better than anyone, that CrossFit really instills that in you. Can you push past that mental barrier? Can you push past that uncomfortable spot and get right to the edge before you just collapse? Can you actually get to that point and stay there?
Yeah, you're 100% right. I would say, as an accountant, as a really type A person, I don't take risks very easily. That doesn't come naturally to me. But that's something I've learned in CrossFit, is just to trust your training and believe in yourself. And so I think that translates into the combine for the Titan Games, and also at work, asking for that promotion or seeing what you can really do.
Yes, absolutely. Trust your training and believe in yourself. So do you have that level of confidence to know where you're at, know your own abilities, and believe in yourself to ask for that promotion, believe in yourself to hold on one more rung, to add 2.5 more pounds to your barbell, to just, no matter what it is, do you have what it takes to add that little bit of extra to get you there? And so just kind of in spirit of this Titan Games and this incredible journey that you've been on, and the fact that you made it as one of the 64 contestants, I wondered what your definition of a Titan actually is, and how you believe your experience as a Titan will now help carry over into the rest of your life. I mean, it's clear that everything that you learned as an athlete and everything that you learned in your personal life, they transcend and they carry over into one another. But I wonder now how this experience on the Titan Games is shaping up, or how it shaped you into just catapulting you into the rest of your life as you go into this CrossFit season as a team competitor, as an individual competitor, and just into your life professionally too.
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say first off, I think my definition of a Titan, having done the show, is just to believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds so cliche, but if you are working towards something and you don't truly believe that you can do it, you probably won't.
Yeah.
You just have to put all of your faith into your training and have an awesome support system and truly believe that you can meet your goals.
Yes.
And I would say it's so easy to feel like you're not good enough and just feel inadequate. And then you go out into this arena with all these other Titans who believe in you too. It's just so cool. And it was just an opportunity I'll never forget.
I love what you said. If you're working towards something and you don't believe in yourself, then the odds are you're not going to make it there. It doesn't matter what effort you think you're putting in every day. If you don't have that confidence and that belief that you can actually make it there, then who's to say that you can? I mean, if you don't think you can,
right,
then, why would anybody else believe that? And so it's that positive self-talk and telling yourself that you can get there, and having that community in CrossFit, at your workplace with Gilbane, and then also now in that atmosphere with the Titan Games, where you would think, I would think too, that everybody would be competing and not really that supportive, but to realize that people really are that way, and they want you to succeed, especially in the athlete community, is such a wonderful thing. And so, Breona, I just have one last question that I ask all of my interviewees, but with everything that you've accomplished on this journey, and just with everything that you have left to accomplish and that you certainly will succeed at with your journey to come, what do you want to be remembered for?
Oh, man. That's such a tough question. I would say taking everything I've done so far, from my cheerleading career into CrossFit, is the one thing that cheerleading taught me, is to try to do difficult things with a smile.
Oh, I love
so
it.
I'd love to be remembered as someone who was hardworking but positive, and could always find the light in everything.
Thank you all for tuning in to today's installment of the Athletes of the Titan Games podcast. To learn more about each of these Titan athletes, be sure to check out their information in the links in my show notes. Furthermore, to stay up to date on all things coming out of the Keep Moving Forward Creators Studio, be sure to subscribe to the Keep Moving Forward podcast iTunes channel and follow along on social media, also available in the show notes. As the creator of the Titan Games, Mr. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson says, "Titans aren't born, they're made." And I hope today's story helped you realize all that you are capable of becoming if you put in that hard work and just keep moving forward.